Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today I'm going to do my poll planning guide for basically the month of November, but it's like kind of end of October. It's weird, like the way they cut off the months, right? It's like the last like week or two of October, and then it's going to be like the first 3 weeks of November. So we'll call it the November poll planning video, though, even though some of it is end of October stuff. So let's go ahead. I'm going to start in. I'm going to go through the community stream slides again, but I will talk a little bit more about the characters and their kits, right? So first we have Realm with Yuna. Now the first thing I'll say about a character like Yuna is definitely a fine support character. She's getting her Echo and Force 50 here, so she's going to be great. What I'm going to say for a character like Yuna, and I'm going to say the same thing about Freya, both excellent support characters, but most veterans will have them built already, so just consider these nice free upgrade characters. I would say for like new players looking for good support characters, I would actually like go for some of the newer supports that I'm going to talk about. So I don't know that like I would recommend everybody go in for Yuna or even Freya, and we'll talk about that. Even though like they're both really good, still really like Freya. The other supports are just too insane to like pass up for like newer players. I think veterans, you're just going to be fine getting these nice extra upgrades, right? So I'm going to focus a little bit more on kind of like the newer characters, right? So we've got Realm. Now, Realm, I'll start off by saying, is a character that I don't think is a must pull for anybody, but she's a really freaking cool character, and she's definitely like one of the most unique characters in the game. And for me, because she's a favorite, she's Final Fantasy VI, I'm definitely going to pull for Realm, but I don't know that I would advise like all players to do it, but I would say if you like the style of her kit, she is a fun character and she's loaded with utility, right? So her big thing is she puts like a sketch debuff down on the enemies, and then when the enemy acts with that debuff, Realm will jump in and steal a turn, right? And then she gets a fairly powerful HP plus attack, and she does actually really solid AoE damage. I think Realm's going to look a little bit better in an AoE fight than a single target fight. But I think the thing that's most unique about her, she also can apply a 50% blind, which is kind of nice too. But the thing that's so unique and cool about her is she has an attack that will change based on the summon that you have equipped. So what's so flexible and cool about Realm is for any elemental fight, she really can't get elemental locked out, and she can always grab the element you need. The other thing that's kind of sneaky good about her is you could run the Sylph summon, and it gives her a heal, and it's a powerful burst heal that isn't restricted by normal restrictions that healing cap has. So she could actually heal, like she could actually technically be the best burst healer in the game if you want to give her the Sylph summon. Now, you are sacrificing a summon slot, right? And Sylph is a lot weaker than these other summons, so you'd have to sacrifice that summon slot to do it, so then you might as well just maybe run a traditional healer. But I just like the flexibility that Realm brings. And then the other thing that Realm gets with these upgrades is she gets like the party mechanic where her positioning changes like what happens to the party. So with her BT effect up, allies to her left get extra HP damage, brave damage, and brave damage cap, among other things. So like really nice additional buffs. And then allies to her right will basically get additional free turns when the sketch is applied. So when sketch is applied, normally Realm steals a turn. What it will do is it'll make all the allies to her right also steal a turn. So she's kind of like Freya in a way, because Freya has Heavy Prayer and Quick Prayer, where Quick Prayer gives you free turns, Heavy Prayer gives you more HP damage. It's very similar to that, but instead of just HP damage, you're also getting brave damage cap up, right? So Realm is just a very cool character. Now, I think she's one of these characters that would kind of fall into the thing where she does a lot of really cool things, but she's not the best at any of them. Like, she can do solid damage. Realm is a character where we talk about as like a damage over time character as well. Like, on a single attack, she's not going to blow you away. But with all of the free turns that she's stealing, the damage really adds up on a per turn basis, and the BT makes it so that her stolen turns won't count against your turn count. So you can really like go crazy and like steal a lot of turns and get a lot of damage in, right? So it's very, very cool. Realm definitely isn't a must pull, but I'm going to get her because she's a favorite, and I think she's just incredibly cool, right? But I don't think either of these are must pulls for players, but Yuna is a very good character as well, especially with the FR boards and the rework for sure. Yuna, like, she gets a lot of HP dumps, so her damage is definitely going to get a lot more competitive here. All right, then we have the special campaign banner with Ace, Dorgan, and Beatrix. I don't think that this is a must pull either, because just a lot of veteran players are going to have these characters built anyways. But I would say if you're like a newish player like Beatrix, I'm very partial to Beatrix. She's one of my top tanks in the game. I think Beatrix is actually an excellent character to pick up if you don't have her. And here's the thing. Like this month, I talked about it on my community stream recap, but this is a month that is extremely heavy on support characters, right? So like damage dealers are few and far between, and tanks, I think Beatrix is the only tank here to be seen, other than maybe there's some LD only ones kind of thrown in, but like a relevant tank, Beatrix might be the only one. So I would say if you are looking for a tank this month, Beatrix then would be a must pull. But I'd say for the average player, once again, if you're a veteran, you've already got these characters if you're interested in them. Otherwise, I would say this is skippable. Dorgan's a nice follow-up character, but here's the thing. There's another follow-up character I'm going to talk about that is ridiculous that you would go for over Dorgan. So I think this is actually a completely skippable banner. Once again, unless you're in need of a tank, I do think Beatrix is worth going in on for sure. Beatrix is crazy. Okay? All right, then we've got the Ignis banner. So we've got Ignis and Queen. Queen's definitely solid, but I would say Queen for sure is a skip here. For me, for sure is a skip. But Ignis, I would say, is probably like... I think Ignis might be my #1 must pick this month. I think he's going to be absolutely insane crazy. And once again, this is the month of supports, and I think Ignis is kind of the headliner of that. So Ignis just does so much. And if you guys remember, I just did my top 5 support characters, and one of them on there was Lena, and it was because of debuff evasion. Well, Ignis has that, but then also does like force charging and maybe some of the things that Lena can't do. So he's got debuff evasion, he's got force charging, he's got HP damage up to the party, right? He has really good burst healing. He does brave gaining, and some of it is kind of like Ursula where it sets the value, so it'll get around like brave gain negate stuff, which I think is really good. So he's going to give you brave, he's going to heal, he's going to force charge, he's doing all the things you want, right? Debuff evasion, force charging. On top of that, he's got turn manipulation, he's got brave poison, he's got HP damage resist down to the enemy, so basically enabling more HP damage for you. His BT adds extra follow-ups, right? His FR condition is like extremely free. Like the requirements for his FR are that you don't have debuffs, and by the way, he has debuff evasion, so you're not going to get them, and that you have full HP. By the way, he's healing insanely like crazy, right? So any character, any action you do, remember this doesn't require attacking, so it's great to echo off of. Any character is going to be able to hit it, and it's just a free 80%. Like, Ignis is insane. Oh, and by the way, he fire enchants, which is kind of a rare element to enchant. There's not a lot of good characters that have it, right? It's like Neon and like Lulu, and they are definitely not like top tier characters. So like Ignis now, we're going to have this top tier character that's going to give us fire enchant, going to have an incredibly free FR that's going to echo like insanity, right? This is one where pretty much what's her face, and Aerith is going to echo for 180, but then attackers are going to be echoing for 100. So it's like you're getting max echo on this guy pretty much for free. So I think Ignis is like a must pull, and I am definitely going to go for him. Now, if you're a player that's like a veteran like me and you have like all of the top tier support characters, is Ignis really a must pull? No, but I'm calling him a must pull because if you're a player that lacks support characters, and like if I look at the characters this month, I think he's the highest priority character. So in that sense, I would say he is a must pull, right? Okay, so Ignis is definitely someone you want to go for. Then we have Leonora. Now Leonora, once again, the month of support's a very nice support character. Sephiroth I don't think is worth chasing, so I'll just throw that out right now. But in terms of, once again, we're very light on damage dealers. So if you need a damage dealer, I suppose Sephiroth is a character you could go for because he's definitely a great damage dealer, right? And he's going to get force 50 here. And by the way, like Rem's there, like Rem's going to be a nice force 50, but I'm not going to talk about even a character like Rem, who's a very good character, because she's not getting FRBT here. I'm not going to talk about her in terms of the should you pull, because you can't pull for those important pieces of her kit, right? So we're just focusing on the mainline characters here. Now Leonora, she's a force charger, insane healer, gives party last stand, so makes you harder to kill, right? She does HP damage resist, so she's got damage reduction, which is kind of good. She gets follow-ups, right? The big thing with Leonora, okay, so she's a character where I don't think she's the best support character this month, but she's definitely very good. But she has a very abusable mechanic, and this is specifically for Maria lovers, if you want to run Maria. But her EX does this very unique thing, where when your party basically gains Brave, they heal 1% of their Brave gaining, or Brave damage back per tick. So, like, it's kind of like in every tick, HP gain on Brave gains. So what it is the devs, didn't account for a certain FR that is in the game, which is Maria's FR. Maria's FR says you get a 2% HP damage increase per HP heal on tick. And the way Maria's is meant to work is she has off-turn traps that heal you off-turn. So the idea is when you get off-turn healing, you get 2% ticks. And it's like, oh, a bunch of little ticks over time, cool. Well, they didn't account for, you know, when they designed Maria's FR, they didn't account for someone like Leonora, who was like a year or more away from coming out, right? So the way that Leonora interacts with Maria FR is if you're running a Maria FR and you have a character like Arden or Vivi or Renoa, like characters that like self-inflict damage so that you have HP to heal, because you actually have to heal HP for Maria's to trigger. So if you're at full health, it's not going to trigger like how you'd want to. So if you have Leonora's EX up, you have Maria FR, and then a character that's the bleeding health, and I know the JP videos, a lot of them featured Arden. Arden will attack, and when you're attacking, you're brave gaining because you're stealing brave from the enemies. Every tick, every brave hit he does is ticking, and it's ticking like crazy to the point where like in one attack, these 2% ticks add up to like 600 in like one attack. And you get like a giant 600% FR gauge gain, or like 400%, right? So it's kind of an abusable gimmick that you can do if you want to. And it's something that the devs definitely didn't intend, and I don't know that they fix it. If there's a JP player that knows if they fix it down the road, let me know in the comments. But as far as I know, I don't think they fix it. Here's the thing. As busted as that sounds, it honestly isn't necessary, because with Echo and like the way some of these characters can ramp, like you've seen in my videos, I can get up to 999 with still like 7 turns left, like an insane amount of force time left. So Leonora is just like a way to fast track it. And you kind of have to be gimmicky and like run Maria, who's a little bit of an older character, and you have to run like a gimmicky character that can drain health. So there's like a lot of gimmicks behind it, and to me, I don't think it's as fun to get Leonora for that gimmick. If you think that gimmick sounds fun though and you want to try out, definitely go for her. But I don't think she's a must pull just because of the competition for other support characters this month. Is Leonora good? Yeah, she's great. She's a very good support character with a lot of healing in her kit. And once again, there's the abusable mechanic. But she's a character I think I am going to go light on. I might just take it kit up to FR. And if I get the BT, great. But because of Ignis and then another support character I'm going to talk about, I feel like she's just, there's too many characters above her for me to say she's a must pull, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. We have Ida and Luna Freya. So Luna Freya I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put her in the same spot as Yuna, where like veterans just consider this a really nice free upgrade. Newer players, you don't have to summon for Luna Freya. She's not a must pull like she used to be. She used to be like super uber mega must pull. Luna Freya is still insanely good, but just like I talked about with Leonora, because of Ignis and another character that I would probably put ahead of her, I'm not going to say she's a must pull. But Luna Freya is an excellent, nice support character you can get. And I mentioned her earlier when I talked about her heavy prayer, quick prayer mechanic, which quick prayer now has more value with retain. Luna Freya really dropped off a cliff when Force came out because she was anti-synergistic with it, because you typically didn't want to, like steal a bunch of turns in certain situations, because Echo kind of killed that a little bit, where you actually want to pass turn and let characters echo and build up. Whereas before that, you wanted to like have one character steal a bunch of turns, right? So now she's in a better spot. It's just that the quality of support unit around her has really been brought up to her level and beyond it. So it's where Luna Freya is not a must pull, but she's a great character. But I'd say if you're a veteran, snag up that Luna Freya. Like, I think she is worth doing Force 50. She's a great character, right? But I don't know that I'm going to say she's a must pull just because of Ignis and another character I'm going to talk about. Now we have Ida. I said this before. Ida is your probably de facto #1 damage dealer you're going to get this month. So I would say if you're looking for a new damage dealer, I think Ida is a good pickup. But once again, it's pretty rare that I'm going to say like a damage dealer is a must pull, right? I would say, you know, at the time you're watching this video, Kadaj is still available. I would probably grab Kadaj over her, to be honest. But if you get to this point in time, like Ida, I mean, she does pretty much, she operates very similar to how she did. They just gave her a ton of HP dumps, so she's doing a lot of damage. And one of her main gimmicks is that she has an HP triple plus that if you break with it, she gets free turns. She's kind of known for this Edaroth combo where if you do Sephiroth with her, it makes it so she can break every single time, and it's an infinite loop. I don't recommend summoning for her for the infinite loop. I don't think it's a very fun thing to do. I don't feel like you're actually playing the game at that point. But if you want a cheat code to maybe get by some fight that's really hard, that you don't want to deal with, and you want to let your phone sit for 45 minutes while she HP pluses an entire fight, you can definitely do that if you want to. But I think this upgrade is really nice for Ida, because now she has the damage just to like qualify on her own without doing the cheat tactic. She is just putting up big numbers. So because damage dealers are light, she is definitely like a worthwhile damage dealer to go for if you want to grab her, right? Okay, so, but I don't think she's a must pull. I don't think any of this is must pull. Okay, then we have the coming soon with some question mark stuff. Oh, one thing I should say, there was I think I took the slide down, but there was a campaign banner coming out on the 9th, and in my recap video, I said that it might be Irvine or Laguna. I think I've confirmed that it is actually not those characters, because I go into Dissidia Compendium to do my research, and they actually have data that says like when characters are dropping, and there was no data on them dropping soon, so it's probably not them unless they add them to the data later on. But what they did confirm is that my question mark characters here were all correct. All of these characters did have dates that they are coming up. So Jessie, Cisne, and Arciela, I believe. Actually, hold on. I'm going to double check. I'm going to double check on Jessie, because I actually don't know if I confirmed her. Yep, so Jessie, she's showing here like 11, 13 coming out. So just so you guys know, if you ever want to do this, go to Dissidia Compendium. And like if you go to characters, I guess this will just be a little bonus. I guess I'll show you right here. But you can see like Leonora lights up 11.5, right? So another character, Arciela, you can see Arciela here is lighting up for 11.20. She's coming, right? She's guaranteed. And then we have Cisne, which we'll just prove it right here. Here's Cisne, 11.20, she's dropping as well. So we know that these characters are having synergy, so they are coming. So what we've got is we've got Jessie, we've got Cisne, and we've got Arciela. I'm just going to talk about all three of these together. Jessie is just a really cool utility turn manipulation character. She's definitely not a must pull, but she is getting some nice upgrades here. I think a lot of players like got her right away. Like me, like I fully maxed her, so I'm just going to consider her a nice free upgrade. She's not a must pull for new players unless like you really are craving turn manipulation and you want that, or if you want like range damage for whatever reason, sure, you could go for that. Jessie does work nice with say like Cisne's FR, because Cisne's FR does want range damage, but I would say Cisne's a character I wouldn't lead with her FR, to be honest, unless you're really focusing on her mechanics, but you can still echo with her just fine, right? Then we have Cisne, who's going to be dropping with the Spiritus. Cisne is a ridiculously good off-turn damage dealer. And the thing with Cisne is she has like a stacking overhead, and she gets like more dumps and more powerful attack on her off-turn. And she was always known as being one of the more powerful off-turn damage dealers in the game, because you could get her to 3 stacks with her LD. And then what you would have to do is you would have to run like speedy characters or turn manipulation, or go through a BT phase so that you could keep her fully stacked off-turn damage going, because every time she takes a turn, she loses a tick on it and it gets weaker. Well, what they do here that's absolutely insane is her BT, they make it so that her overhead will not decrease, so then she can freely take turns and keep the really buffed off-turn damage, and they make it trigger twice. So Cisne now is going to be maybe the best off-turn damage dealer in the game. And with her BT effectiveness, absolutely crazy. So Cisne to me still isn't a must pull, because I believe this type of character in general isn't a must pull, but I think that everybody needs to have some type of off-turn damage dealer. A lot of players are going to have characters like Core and Vice, right? Even Kadaj I would consider off-turn damage much in the same way. So if you've got these types of characters, she's not a must pull. But if you don't have this, I would think she is a must pull, because she is like the #1 best off-turn damage dealer you have access to. It's pretty much like her and Dorgan are going to be the main ones you're going to pull for. But Dorgan specifically wants breaking, whereas she's just going to do it. And she's going to do double follow-up. So I would say, if you're looking for off-turn damage, that complementary character, she is a must pull for that role. In general, though, do you have to get her? Probably not. I am definitely going to get her. I think she's going to be fantastic. So Cisne, for me, I think I'm going all in on, which is hard because the character after that I'm also going all in on. And next to Ignis, we're getting Arciela, I believe, is the other top tier support character this month, who I also would say is a very I would say maybe a must pull. So Arciela, Ignis, and Cisne, I think are kind of like my 3 characters that you should be aiming for this month. So if I were to narrow it down, I would say those are the 3. Arciela is crazy because beyond doing normal support things that you want, like healing and Brave Gain, she has some really potent debuffs. So the big thing is she has a 2-turn HP silence that's very on demand, very easy to use, basically means enemies can't kill you. She also has something that's kind of like, I would call it a soft freeze. So a normal freeze debuff makes it so the enemies just flat out can't gain Brave, right? She has a different type of freeze. It's not actually called freeze, it's something else. But it makes it so that enemies can't gain Brave, but it does exclude like I Brave and Stolen Brave. So what this means is I Brave means their start of turn Brave Gain, or when they unbreak. They can get their unbreak Brave Gain, they will still get that. And if they attack you and gain Brave, they still get it. What hers stops is it stops if the enemies literally just do a Brave Gain before an attack on their own, or if they just do a straight up Brave Gain. So if they do any Brave Gain that's a part of their attack or ability, they don't get it. Now you might say, well, that doesn't sound nearly as good as a freeze, and you're right, it's not. But the big thing is freeze debuffs are usually like 1 to 3 turns, very short duration. You get this for 8 turns. So if you get a boss that is literally, because what you guys will notice in hard fights, bosses will be broken and they will literally Brave Gain up to kill you and one-shot you if you don't have the right team builds. This prevents that. So they cannot Brave Gain on their own through an ability, and you're going to get it for 8 turns. So, you know, that 8-turn debuff, you're going to be able to upkeep that basically the entire fight. So if you're doing a fight where the enemies are doing a lot of oppressive Brave Gaining, you can shut that down, right? Then the other thing is her HP silence is a short turn duration, but her BT effect makes it so her inflicted debuffs do not decrease. So you have that HP silence on, you have her full BT effect where that is not ticking down. So once again, this is another BT effect where you're pretty much unkillable basically, right? Also makes it so that the enemies can't buff themselves. That is very powerful. It enables extra party HP damage. And by the way, she also has a FR that's instant turn rate, so that can really help for some quick echoing. So yeah, Arciela, just a very, very nice character. I think, and here's the thing, guys, I'm not a JP player. So when I do my poll planning, it is really looking at the kits on paper. On paper, I think I'm liking Ignis more than Arciela. So to me, Ignis is number 1. I would say Arciela is number 2 and Cisne is number 3 for me in terms of like best characters this month as I'm reading on paper. Now, there are times that I actually summon for them, use them, and I kind of will change my tune on a character. I think an example of this would be like Deuce is a character maybe I underplayed a little bit in my poll planning video, and then I liked her a lot better later on. So I'm not saying it's 100% accurate, but these are just my opinions, reading the characters on paper, hearing some of the things I hear in the community. So let's recap again. Realm, for me, I'm summoning because she's a favorite and I think a fun character, but not a must pull. Yuna, I think veterans will rejoice. Nice free character. I don't think other players have to pull for her. This banner, I think, is skippable, but if you're lacking a tank, I think Beatrix is the tank you could have access to this month who's ridiculously good. So I think she is a must pull if you need a tank. Otherwise, you're free to skip if you want to. Ignis, I think, is the number 1 must pull character this month. Leonora, I don't think she's must pull. She's kind of in between for me just because the competition's so high on support. But if you want to do the Maria thing, definitely go for Leonora to try that out. Sephiroth, if you're needing a BT, or if you're needing a damage dealer, I think Ida and Sephiroth are kind of your best options. The other thing I guess I should point out, sneaky devs, they drop you Sephiroth and then they drop you Ida. So they're actually giving you the Ida-Roth combo this month if you want it. So if you really want that Ida-Roth combo, sure, it's there for you, but it's not a must pull. And then, as I said, Ida's not a must pull, but if you want a DPS, she's probably the top pick this month for DPS. Luna Freya, just like Yuna, nice support upgrade for players that already have her, but not a must get. And then here, as we talked about, I think it's Cisne and Arciela. I like them I would recommend you pull them. And Jessie is definitely not a must pull, but if you want turn manipulation, she's fun. So anyways, guys, let me know what your pull plans are this month. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.